Hey, everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to share with you 10 books that could change your freight broker business forever. That's what we're going to talk about today. I have been asked time and time again, hey, Dennis, what are some of your favorite books? What are your best book recommendations for startups or for people that are looking to scale their business? So today, I'm going to give you a wide range of books, okay, ranging from personal development to sales, to marketing, to psychology, to management, to scaling. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle, right? So I went into my bookshelf, right? And even a box of books that I have down below. And I went through all these books and I pulled out 10. Now it's hard to pull out 10, okay? Because I have so many books and there are so many great books out there. But I'm going to share with you 10. These are 10 books that I truly believe could be a game changer for you in your freight broker or freight agent business. So thank you for joining me. If you're catching this on replay, hit me up with hashtag replay. Let me know my replay, folks. I love you guys. Appreciate you. I know sometimes you can't make it live. For those of you that are catching me live, hit me up in the comments with the city and state that you're logging in from. We'll try to do some shout outs. The agenda today. First, we're going to go over the top 10 list of books. Then we're going to do a quick giveaway. Maybe we'll do a Freightpreneur t-shirt. Maybe we'll do cash, depending on how I'm feeling. And then we'll go into live Q&A. And again, I should probably preface this up front. I know it's Tuesday. I know we normally do these on Monday, but I had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday. And the hiccup was that I had a gentleman here that was fixing my air conditioning unit, one of my air conditioning units in the house. And he was being forced to turn the power on and off, and it was going to totally disrupt it potentially could have disrupted the entire live because he was here working at that time. So I decided to call an audible and push it to today just to be safe and make sure that we could do this without any issues. So I'm excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me give you a few shout outs before we get started. Then we'll get the ball rolling. Welcome Holistic Logistics from Kennesaw, Georgia. Carlos Ospina, welcome. Welcome Michael 46 from Orlando, Florida. Welcome Brian Breckles from Ontario, Canada. Connor from Armenia. Awesome, Connor. Welcome. Timothy McNeil from Detroit, Michigan. Rebecca Doby from Odessa, Texas. Patrice White from Chicago. Mrs. Patrice White from Chicago, Illinois. Ozan from Lincoln, Nebraska. Welcome. Angel from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Brian from Maryland. Next Links from Valley Stream, New York. Kat Moody from Orange County, California. Kat and I just had a quick conversation on LinkedIn. Thanks for connecting, Kat. Appreciate it. Eclectic Rose from Colorado. Brian Henderson from Maryland. Alexis Bailey from Detroit, Michigan. Man, we got people from all over the place. So listen, I know that books are sometimes boring to talk about. And the fact is, most people after they graduate from high school rarely read a book. But I'm going to tell you, if you want a hack on how to get better at anything, I don't care if it's sales, marketing, how to do a Rubik's Cube, how to, technology oriented. I don't care what it is, what the topic is. You have the ability for 15 or 20 bucks usually to tap into the mind of an expert, a true expert in that realm, and tap into 20 or 30 years of experience that they have and can teach you everything they know in a book, in a little teeny book, right? Little teeny book. You can learn that, but you have to be a lifelong learner. You have to read. Now, today you don't have to read. I myself do a lot of audiobooks, right? You can see I've got a lot of books behind here that I've accumulated over the years that I've read. But I also now do a lot of audiobooks, but I still continue to buy the physical book. My rule is I kind of do the audiobook, and then if I really like the book, I'll buy the physical book and then I'll mark it up inside the physical book. So that's kind of what I do. But I know we got a bunch of people live. I know a bunch of people are going to catch us on replay. I've got a whole stack of books over here that you can't see. Hopefully they don't fall off my desk, but I am going to share those with you. And I truly appreciate you being here. Let me know where you guys are catching this. Are you guys on LinkedIn? Are you guys on Facebook? Are you on YouTube? Hit me up in the comments where you guys are tuning in from. I'm always curious where the live viewers are watching this most, right? Seems to me like I've been getting a lot of YouTube and a lot of LinkedIn lately. So I appreciate everybody who tunes in, no matter where you are, whether you're on replay or otherwise. I truly appreciate it. All right, cool. So let's get the show on the road here, okay? So today, I'm going to share with you 10 books that could literally change your freight broker business forever. I know that's a strong statement, but what I want you to understand is that every single one of the books that I'm going to share with you today, if implemented, the teachings from these books could put 6 or 7 figures in your hip national bank, right in your pocket, if you read, understand, and implement. You have to execute, right? So knowledge is potential power, right? Putting that knowledge to work and taking action, that's the real power. So I'm going to give you the first half, right? Which is the books I recommend. You're going to have to do the rest. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments as I introduce these. If you've read any of these books, heard of any of these books, or you think it's something that you would want to invest in. Okay, number 1 on the list. Some of these books you probably will never heard of. A couple of you may have. Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick synopsis here, okay? Raving Fans, your customers are only satisfied because their expectations are so low and because no one else is doing better. Just having satisfied customers is not good enough anymore. If you really want a booming business, you have to create raving fans. That's what this book is all about. How to create raving fans. It's a very small book. It's put in the form of more like a fiction book, right? So yeah, you definitely want to check this out. I've had this book for years and it has been on the top of my mind every time somebody asks me about a book that they need to read and they're in business. It's Raving Fans. This is one of the top 10. So that's number 1. These are in no discernible order, but I did want to kind of give you an eclectic view of these different books in different genres. All right. Number 2 is a book called How to Get a Meeting with Anyone by my very good friend, Stu Heineck. Stu and I have been friends for years now. We were actually in a mastermind together for several years. Great guy, super sharp. He is the godfather of what's called contact marketing. Okay. Now, contact marketing, I'm going to give you a quick preview into this. It says, in How to Get a Meeting with Anyone, Heineck explains how you can use your creative contact campaigns to get those critical conversations. He divulges methods he's developed after years of experience from studying the secrets of others who've had similar breakthrough results that other marketers consider impossible, with response rates as high as 100%. Through real-life success story, Heineck lays out 20 categories of contact campaigns anyone can research and execute. Now, How to Get a Meeting with Anyone will literally give you examples and teach you the fundamentals and the framework of how to get a meeting with anyone. And if you're in sales, if you're a freight broker or a freight agent, you definitely could use this. All right. So number 2 is How to Get a Meeting with Anyone by Stu Heineck. All right. Number 3, this is more of a mindset book. It is called Success Through Positive Mental Attitude by W. Clement Stone. Okay. So this is a book. This book has been around forever. And this was actually a gift given to me years and years and years ago when I first started in business in the early 90s. Now, this book really is amazing. There's not a preface, but I'm going to actually scroll through. You can see that I've got this book all marked up, right? I've got tons of things. So I'm just going to randomly turn to a page and I'm going to pull up something that I highlighted. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. I mean, these are just examples of things that I've actually highlighted. And this is an incredibly powerful book that most people probably have never even heard of, right? Especially if you're in the startup realm. But what I want you to understand is this: having the right mindset is always overlooked when it comes to starting and growing a successful business. If you read this book, if you implement and you learn and you digest and you consume this book, good things can happen. All right. I promise you. That's number 3. Number 4 is a book that you've probably never heard of. It's called Profit First. It's one of the newer books. I probably bought this book, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. After meeting Michael, well, I met Michael Michalowicz. I actually interviewed him for my other podcast. I bought this book because Profit First, it says, transform your business from a cash-eating monster into a money-making machine. And Profit First is that fundamental of how you need as a business owner to take profit first. And it's an entire system on how to manage your money as an individual, but in particular as a business owner. So this is like a basic financial management tool on how to manage your finances. It's really simple to understand. You know, it kind of goes back to that methodology on how my mother and my grandparents used to save money. They'd have these different envelopes and they would put, hey, here's the Christmas club envelope, and here's the car envelope, and here's the vacation envelope. And it takes that kind of principle and it applies it to business. It's a very powerful book. Not only did I read the book, but I implemented this entire system in my own business. So this is the exact system that I use to run my business today. It's called Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. Check it out. All right. Number 4, a classic. You may not have read it. You may not have heard of it. It's called The 1 Minute Manager. Okay. This again is another Ken Blanchard book. Okay. The world's most popular management method. Okay. What they do is this. In The 1 Minute Manager is a concise, easily read story that reveals 3 very practical secrets: the 1 minute goals, the 1 minute praising, and the 1 minute reprimands. This is like a playbook on how to manage your business, how to manage people effectively, right? Managing people in business is one of the hardest things to learn, right? It doesn't come intuitively. So this is a book. It's a real short book. You can see it's real simple. It's real short. It's more of a fiction type format, again, like Ken Blanchard uses, even in that other book I shared with you, Raving Fans. Definitely check this out, The 1 Minute Manager. I know it's an oldie, but it's a goldie. And these concepts are not out of favor, okay? Check it out, The 1 Minute Manager. All right, here's a book you can see is dog-eared all over the place. I've got tons of dog ears in here. It's called Neuromarketing: Understanding the Buy Buttons in Your Customer's Brain by Patrick Renoir and Christophe Morin. Okay, I got this book, man, I don't know, it's probably 10 or 15 years ago. I was running my brokerage. And the whole thing about this book is this: the latest breakthroughs in brain research suggest that people make emotional decisions which they later rationalize. Increasing your success in sales and marketing means triggering the true decision-making part of the brain, the old brain. And it goes through the distinct parts of your brain. It goes into how to tap into that old brain. This is an incredible book. Again, you can see I've got this thing dog-eared like crazy. Matter of fact, this is something that's on my list to reread this year. I probably haven't read this in a few years. So definitely check out this book, Neuromarketing by Patrick Renoir. All right? All right, what are we up to? You may have heard me mention this book before. It's called The Sales Bible by Jeffrey Gitomer, okay? Gitomer, Jeffrey Gitomer. Now, I've had this book for about 20 years. Okay, this book came out about 20 years ago, so it's close to 20 years since I've had this book. And he was a sales mentor of mine from afar. I read all of his books. I followed all of his content. I followed his teachings. Big believer in Jeffrey. And I was fortunate enough a few years ago to actually meet him. I interviewed him for my podcast, and I was actually on his podcast. So he invited me onto his podcast. We had a great interview. It was an amazing experience. Got to meet him. It came full circle. This is an incredible book called The Sales Bible, and it is the perfect title for this book. I'm going to leave it at that. Check it out, The Sales Bible by Jeffrey Gitomer. All right, where are we at now? The next book, what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 8 is Scaling Up, okay? It's called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits 2.0, Scaling Up, How a Few Companies Make It and Why the Rest Don't by Verne Harnish. Okay. Now, this is a book for companies that have already went through the startup phase and are already through that early stage of their business, but are looking to scale their business. All right. It goes over 4 core areas of your business. It talks about scaling up people. It talks about scaling up strategy. It talked about scaling up execution, and it talks about scaling up cash, right? So those 4 elements, those 4 buckets are the fundamentals and are the core principles behind scaling any business. Okay. So this is a great book. You definitely want to check this out. Again, Scaling Up by Verne Harnish. Okay. All right. And I would be remiss without one of my favorite books of all times. Very simple book. You've probably heard me mention it before. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. What can I tell you about this book? This book is like a playbook on how to develop and enhance and maintain strong relationships and develop strong relationships in business and in life. This is an incredibly powerful book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The title says it all. It's an incredible book. I have given out literally hundreds of copies of this book over the years to friends, people that I've hired, some of my followers on YouTube and different social platforms. But again, the book is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. All right. And number 10, drum roll, please. Number 10, you may or may not have heard of, but this book had a huge impression on me. It really validated a lot of the things that were going on in my mind as technology really started to change the landscape for marketing. And it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. You probably have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, uber successful entrepreneur. And he put this book out several years ago, but it's still very relevant. It's how to tell your story in a noisy social world. Okay. And so, one of the comments, one of the things in here in the inside cover is communications is still key, but context matters more than ever. It's not just about developing high quality content. It's also about developing high quality content that perfectly adapts to the specific social media platforms and mobile devices. It's about truly engaging with customers, not by shouting at them over social media, but by using narrative forms, particularly to each different platform. And then he lists all the different platforms. So listen, this is an amazing book. Jab, 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 Right Hook. It's a philosophy that I've had for many, many years when I developed my LinkedIn and social selling program. Some of you have probably heard of my No Cold Calling for Freight Brokers program. This was some of the fundamentals of how I built that program. This was huge validation for me and helped even for me to enhance that program after reading this book. So I highly recommend Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. So those are the top 10 books that could literally change your freight broker business forever. And listen, I highly recommend you get those. I don't care if you get the physical book or the audio book, whatever you do, just get one of these books and start taking action and start reading it today. Okay. So go to Amazon, check it out. All right. Listen, for those of you that are curious about becoming a freight broker, like I was back in 2003, and you don't have a clue what the hell it's all about, and you can't connect the dots, I have put together an entire system A to Z called Freight Broker Bootcamp. We've trained over 10,000 students. Okay. We've been in business well over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. You can check that out. You can also, if you go to that page, you'll get the opportunity to get a free download, which is the 7 steps to become a freight broker. It's a free download. It costs you absolutely nothing. You can check that out before you actually enroll in Freight Broker Bootcamp. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Listen, one last thing. If you're still here listening to this, that means you're definitely looking for some help or guidance. Here's what I recommend. If you are looking for help with how to get customers, how to get shippers as a freight broker, and you would like me to be your freight broker sales coach and mentor, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get on my wait list for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. It's about to open up very, very soon. I'll put a URL up on the screen. It's freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. The only way you can enroll in that program is through the wait list. It sells out every single time, and I promise you it's going to sell out again. So make sure you get on that wait list because I'm going to be opening up enrollment very, very soon. That's where it's a 5-week coaching program where I take that piece of my brain and I transplant it into your head, all about freight broker sales, my best strategies, tactics, tools, and my entire system on how I did over $200 million as a freight broker. Check that out. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week on the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. All right, cool. For those of you that want to stick around, we're going to do a giveaway, and then we're going to jump into live Q&A. So hang tight. But tell me, which of these books are you going to go out and buy today? Which one of these books are you going to go out and buy today? Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose. Tell me what you got. I want to hear from you guys in the comments before we do the giveaway. Which one of these books are you going to give away? Are you going to do purchase today? All right. What do we got here? Come on, talk to me. I've read a lot of Gitomer. Okay. Yep. Gitomer's great. Rebecca Doby. It's called Neuromarketing. Neuromarketing. Let me share it with you. Neuromarketing. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Neuromarketing. Okay. You can definitely check that out. Great book, man. It will open your eyes. It will open your eyes to the psychology of what makes people truly buy. Okay. Very important. All right. Already read How to Win Friends and Influence People. Awesome, Kat. I love that. How to Get a Meeting with Anyone. That's Mrs. Patrice White. Can't go wrong. Stu's a great friend of mine and an amazing guy. Super, super sharp. Hall of Fame cartoonist, right? He's multi-dimensional. So yeah, great guy. All right, cool. Raving Fans by Carlos. Yeah. Yep. Totally agree. Raving Fans and Profit First, those are both good options. Okay, cool. Let's do the giveaway. All right, we're going to do cash. All right, we're going to give away cash. I've given away enough of these shirts. And as a matter of fact, by the way, you guys harassed the shit out of me about offering the opportunity to sell these shirts. You guys wanted to buy these shirts. Freightpreneur, someone who solves problems you don't know, and you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. You guys harassed me about, hey, where can I buy the shirt? Hey, where can I buy the shirt? Hey, where can I buy the shirt? So I went through the painstaking process of setting up an e-com store where you guys could buy these shirts super cheap, right? And oh no, that's not it. Sorry. And I put it out there. I kind of did a little soft announcement, and very few of you even bought the shirt. I'm literally thinking about shutting down the store because I'm like, I don't even want to waste my time on this. It's so dumb. But you guys, I literally had hundreds of people ask me to, hey, where can I buy the shirt? Hey, where can I buy the shirt? Hey, where? And I ignored it for the longest time because it was kind of like noise and I just didn't want to get distracted. But I took some time. I put this together. If you guys want to buy a Freightpreneur t-shirt or a Freightpreneur sweatshirt, I think there's going to be a mug maybe if you guys start buying. Maybe we'll do a mug at some point. But listen, just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/swag. Let me make sure that URL is working. It was working. Yeah, it brings you right to the store. Okay, it brings you right to the Freightpreneur store. So yeah, check that out, guys. If you guys want one of these shirts, you can buy it, right? And you'll have it within a week or two. All right. That doesn't mean I'm not going to give them away. I will, but I usually only give away one a week or one every other week. So, there's a lot of people that were interested in the Freightpreneur t-shirt. So I put that together for you. Okay, good. All right. So let's go into the giveaway. All right. Today, I'm going to give away $50. We'll give away $50 cash. It'll help fill your tank. It'll buy you some coffee this week. Maybe you can go out and buy your significant other some flowers. Maybe you guys can go out on a quick, inexpensive date, go to the movies, whatever you want. All right. So here's all you got to do in order to qualify for the $50 prize. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to go to the, if you're on Apple, if you're on an iPhone, pull out your smartphone. If you're on an iPhone, I want you to pull up the Apple Podcast app. I want you to search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, and I want you to like I want you to rate, review, and subscribe. I had a synaptic misfire there. Rate, review, and subscribe. That's the Freight Broker Bootcamp podcast. You'll see my bald, shiny head. Freight Broker Bootcamp. Rate, review, and subscribe on Apple. Come back in and let me know in the comments that you rate, reviewed, and subscribed on Apple. Okay? If you're an Apple user. If you're using Android, I want you to go to Spotify or to Google Podcast or wherever you else listen to podcasts or even music and go on there and search for Freight Broker Bootcamp and then rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast and come back in and let me know, rate, reviewed, and subscribed on Spotify or Google. You have to let me know where you rate, review, and subscribe. It's very important, okay? I'm trying to collect this data. I'm trying to understand where people are listening. I need to understand that, okay? So that's the value of me giving away the $50. So all you got to do, rate, review, and subscribe to the Freight Broker Bootcamp podcast from your cell phone. Okay, it'll take you 60 seconds. Come back in here. Let me know in the comments that you rate, reviewed, and subscribed on Apple or Spotify or wherever. And then I will pick one winner and we're going to give away $50 cash. Okay, and then we'll jump into live Q&A. So stick around. For those of you that have questions or whatever the case may be, you guys have questions. Maybe you're part of the Freight Broker Bootcamp that you've already enrolled and you got some questions that you'd like my response from. Maybe you're considering getting started as a freight broker, freight agent. Maybe you're curious what's going on about the economic conditions. I mean, whatever the case may be, hit me up. I'll do my best. I promise you this. I don't know everything, but if I don't know the answer, I'll try to point you in the right direction. Okay. So let's see what we got. All right. So guys, you got to rate, review, and subscribe. Come back in. All right. Ozan did. Thank you, Ozan. Who else? So right now, if you were to rate, review, and subscribe, you got a 50% chance of winning the $50. Nobody wants $50 cash today, it seems like. So I'm going to go about another minute. This shouldn't take you guys very long. I'm going to go out another minute. I'm going to give away the $50. As of right now, Ozan's the default winner. And unless a bunch of you start to, participate, great, no problem. And then we'll jump into live Q&A. I'm sure Ozan would appreciate it. Rico, you got to hold off on your questions until after the giveaway, because otherwise I will not see them. You got to understand, I get a feed of all the different platforms and the feed flies up and down. So I never can keep track of them. Okay. All right. So we got a few people that are interested in the $50 free cash. So again, we're going to give it about a minute or so, and then we're going to jump into live Q&A. So all you got to do, pull out your smartphone. I don't care if you're on Apple or Android. I don't care what you're on. Pull up your favorite podcast app. Find the Freight Broker Bootcamp podcast. Okay. We've been ranked in the top 100 out of all entrepreneur podcasts on Apple. Okay. Thanks to you. But that means people are getting good value. This is the best of the best of the best audio training that I've ever done over the last decade plus, and you can get it for absolutely free. There are, how many? Let's see, how many are there? There's 100 and what? I mean, there's over 100. There's probably 100, 150 or more free trainings on here. You can listen to them when you're walking the dog, when you're on the treadmill, when you're driving. I don't care what you're doing. If you're a truck driver, you should definitely be listening to this when you're driving, because it's not video. You definitely don't want to be watching video while you're driving. So these are audio only podcasts. So check it out. All right, guys, you got 30 seconds to play along for the $50 giveaway. I now know that the audience does not appreciate cash, so I won't give away cash in the future because you guys don't like cash. That's okay. No problem. I'll give away mugs. I'll give away a t-shirt. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But the funny thing is, you guys didn't even buy a t-shirt. I make no money on this stuff, guys. I mean, it's so negligible. It's ridiculous. I priced them so low and so stupid that maybe, I don't know, if people don't buy, I mean, it's okay. I'll just decommission the store. It's not a big deal. All right, cool. We're going to do the giveaway. Here we go. I'm going to randomly select one winner, and the winner of the $50 cash is Connor. Connor, you are the winner. Rate, review, and subscribe on Apple. Congratulations. Here's all you got to do to collect the $50. I want you to send me a message. We're on LinkedIn. I know we're connected. Send me a message on LinkedIn with your full name, your PayPal email, because I only send these via PayPal, your PayPal email, and letting me know that you won the $50 podcast subscribe giveaway. You got to let me know. The $50 podcast subscribe giveaway. Once I get that from you, I'll shoot you off a PayPal with $50. Congratulations. Thank you for everybody that played along. If you guys have not checked out the Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience podcast, okay, you're absolutely missing out. It's free. It's easy. It's free. It's easy. And it's the best training that I've ever done in audio formats. Different webinars, different coaching calls, different Q&As, different trainings. I mean, it's literally the best of the best. I love podcasts. If you guys aren't listening to podcasts yet, you're an absolute fool. Check out Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm going to get off the soapbox here. Congratulations, Connor. All right, cool. So we are going to jump into Q&A. So if you have questions and you already typed the question, I didn't see it, so you got to type it again. Hit me up with the questions. Here's one thing I know for sure. I will not get to everybody's question today. I never can. There's always more questions than there are time. I'll get to as many as I can with the time allotted. And I just appreciate you guys being here, but I'll do my absolute best, okay? All right, cool. So hit me up in the comments with any questions. All right, so Alexis has a question. How much should a brokerage percentage or cut look like if I'm doing government contracts as an agent? Okay, Alexis is asking, what should your profit margins be if you are a freight agent selling to the government? Okay, I think that's your question. Now, the government is just another shipper. Okay, but depending upon what division of the government that you are working with, it can be more competitive. As a matter of fact, we were a part of what's called the SDDC, the Surface Deployment something and something, right? I don't remember exactly what it was, but we did a lot of freight for the SDDC when I had my brokerage, and their TMS system where you do rating and bidding is an open platform. So that means that any other competitor can see what you're rating. All right. So it can be a bit cutthroat, but what I want you to understand is that relationships trump price in many cases, even when it comes to the Department of Defense or government freight. Okay. Because while those traffic managers are commissioned to try to save money for the government, which is what they should do, if they have relationships with providers, they have the discretionary ability to trump the rate and to focus on the provider and the solution they provide. So to answer your question, the margins probably won't be any different than they are in the private sector, somewhere in the range of 10 to 20%. So let me give you an example. Just easy math. If it's $1,000 load to the shipper, the broker would make anywhere from $100 to $200. That's kind of the norm. Now, if there are more complexity to the shipments, meaning more challenging, like for example, maybe a heavy haul or something very complex, then the margins may go up because complexity adds difficulty, which adds value, which means you can charge a little more for it. So yeah, I think the margins are going to be relatively the same in the private sector versus the DoD. But in some cases, if you are just focused on putting out bids, then, then and you're only price oriented, then you're going to struggle. Your margins are going to be less. But if you focus on developing relationships and differentiating yourself and being different from the crowd, you have an opportunity to make really good margins. Okay. Even if you're doing government freight. So I hope that helps, Alexis. Okay, so here's a question from Michael 46. Hey, Dennis, is it okay to work for two brokerages as an agent at the same time? That depends upon the brokerage that you're representing. As a general rule, the answer is yes, but some brokers may not allow you to offer competing products or services, all right? Now, that would be something you'd have to check with your brokerage or check your freight agent contract. But I'm going to tell you, my personal opinion is it creates a level of complexity that's typically not worth it. So what do I mean by that? If you are a freight agent and you're working for ABC Logistics and XYZ Logistics, okay, it's confusing not only to the shippers, but it's very confusing to the carriers who you're representing on any individual load. And there's usually not a huge benefit for it. You know, there are some exceptions, and I know there are some people that rep multiple brokerages, but to date, I've never found a super uber successful freight broker that really needed two brokerages if they're partnering with the right brokerage the first time. Okay, so the answer is yes, you probably can rep two brokers. You have to check your broker agent agreement, but make sure there's a very good reason why, and make sure you're not creating complexity and confusion with billing your customer, with billing for the carrier, what MC you're operating under for any given shipment. It can get very confusing and create a lot of, even in some cases, some mistrust, right? Of why you have two MCs and two different brokerages. So that's up to you, but I hope that answered your question. All right, Rico, how do you get customers to call you? Okay, well, I did an entire training on YouTube about this, but I'm going to give you some ideas. The key to getting customers to call you is the difference between sales and marketing. Okay, most people don't understand the difference. All right, so when I post content on LinkedIn, or when I put up my website and I publish content on a blog, or when I shoot a video on YouTube, okay, that's content marketing, and that's used as a way to create awareness and educate my audience about my expertise and any or all services or products that I can offer. That's called marketing. So the secret to generating inbound leads, getting people to call you, is marketing. So I did a LinkedIn post about a week ago, okay? And I don't remember exactly what the LinkedIn post said. I don't remember what the topic was. But as a part of that, at the end of it, I asked them, if you guys want more information or help, hit me up with help in the comments, and I'll gladly send you this resource. And from one LinkedIn post, I generated over 30 inbound leads through LinkedIn. 30 people that wanted to know more about what I had to offer. So that's an example of how getting them to call you. Now, it went through LinkedIn and it went through, the comments and through Messenger. But ultimately, that's what I was looking to do, because I wasn't looking to generate a phone call. I could have easily put my phone number in there, probably got a whole bunch of calls that I didn't necessarily want at this point. But yeah, that's an example. The key to generating inbound leads in this day and age is really creating compelling content, posting it on the right platform, in the right context, like they talk about in Jab, 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 Right Hook, okay, with Gary Vaynerchuk, the book I just talked to you about. These philosophies will help you to generate inbound leads by educating your audience through content marketing and through social interaction through all the major platforms out there. Okay. So I hope that helps. I mean, I'm going to do some additional trainings on marketing. I know I did a marketing training not that long ago. A lot of great feedback. People want more. So I'm going to do a lot more marketing related content. But that's where we're at today. Hope that helps, Rico. Where are we at? I got to scroll up here. Sorry. What's the car carrier? Auto hauling load board. Yeah. So, okay, there it is. Okay. So the two that I found that I remember is Central Dispatch. Okay, centraldispatch.com. And then the other one that seems to be really popular is Super Dispatch. Okay, so those are two big ones where you'll be able to find car haulers, people in the car carrying industry. So I hope that helps. Okay, here's a question from Heck T. Hello, Dennis. All your videos are awesome. Thank you. Once I complete my Freight Broker Bootcamp training, how can I get started or hired as a freight agent? All right, listen, here's what I'm going to recommend. You need to go to, let's see, do I have? Go to my blog and search for Get Hired. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog. And then there's a little search box there. You type Get Hired. It'll pull up an entire blog post with a video with an entire training on how to get hired as a freight agent with no experience. Okay. It walks through a step-by-step process that I can't go through right now without spending 10 minutes. Okay. So that's what I would recommend. Check out the blog, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, search Get Hired, because I know that's part of the title. It'll come up. You can pull up that entire training, and I hope that helps. It definitely will. Okay, Michael 46. Thank you, Dennis. Also, how would you go about sending personal messages to potential prospects on LinkedIn? Okay, well, if you have potential prospects that you've found and identified that are on LinkedIn, okay, one of the first things you're going to want to do is go to their profile and gather some sales intelligence, gather some data, right, about them. How long have they worked there? Where did they work before? Where did they go to school? Where do they live? What city and state do they live in? What content are they posting or engaging with? Educate yourself a little bit about the prospect. Then you're going to want to go to the company's website. You want to educate yourself about the company, including the type of products that they sell and ship, obviously. Maybe some recent news, maybe the name of the CEO or the founding story. I mean, you want to educate yourself a little about that prospect, gather that sales intelligence, and then come back in and hit connect. But then you want to send a custom connection request. You never want to send a generic connection request to anybody, okay? Unless it's your mother or your brother or your dad or the owner of your company. You never want to send a generic connection request on LinkedIn. Send a custom connection request, which means you can write a short message. Use that sales intelligence that you've gathered to create and build some rapport, to create a little bit of curiosity, and to get them to look at your profile. And then if your profile is optimized and it looks professional and it makes a good first impression, you probably have about a 30 to 50% chance that they'll accept your connection request. And then at that point, it's fair game to be able to message them, right? So from there, you're going to create a sequence of messages. This is where this book comes in. Jab, 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 right hook, right? Give, ask, right? So I highly recommend you check that out. That's when you will use that jab, 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 right hook. Give, ask is what I call it. Philosophy and strategy to try to engage them. You've found them, now you've engaged them, and then you'll eventually convert them into customers. So hope that helps, Michael 46. Okay, so Gloria asks, is it mandatory to use factoring in each haul? Some factoring companies will require you to do all of your factoring through them, but most do not. Okay, so let me say that again. Some factoring companies will require that you factor all your invoices, but most do not. So you can factor some shippers and not factor others. Okay, but that depends upon the company itself. Okay, so Luis Torres asks, who pays the detention, the broker or the shipper? Okay, so here's how it works. If I'm a broker and I hired you as a carrier and you have some detention, you notify me upon the detention happening. And then at the end, after the detention is done, you let me know how much time, was it an extra hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it was. We should have already divulged the rates on detention. So let's say it's $50 an hour. Let's say there's $100 due to the carrier. I will then let my shipper know. And then that shipper, assuming that it's all documented and accurate and legit, will approve that detention, and that will flow through me, the broker, to you. So I will ultimately pay you. So the carrier will invoice the broker for the detention. The shipper will, in most cases, pass that through and will pay detention. Sometimes if a shipper doesn't pay detention, a broker will still pay the detention depending upon the reasons, the cause, and all the factors around it. But yeah, as a carrier, you're going to invoice the broker for your normal freight as well as your detention. And then, the broker will invoice the shipper and collect the monies. Okay. So I hope that helps. Question from Miss Patrice White. When applying for the LLC, should it be foreign so I can do business in other states as well as my state, or just domestic LLC? If you have a domestic LLC, you don't need anything more than a domestic LLC. You can do business anywhere in the world with a domestic LLC. Okay. Any state, any city, any country, right? You can accept payments and you can pay and provide service anywhere. So I've never had what I would consider to be a foreign LLC. I don't even know about a foreign LLC. So I think all you need is a domestic LLC, one that's based. You'll have to pick a state where your business is going to be domiciled. So I'm in New York, so I have a New York State corporation, right? An LLC in New York. The same way when I had my freight brokerage, we had a New York State corporation. So yeah, that would be the way you can do it. Now, if you have an LLC, then of course you can at that point elect whether you're going to do an S Corp election. There's a lot of things there, but I would highly recommend you check out Google and seek some advice on how to file that, and or consider hiring or discussing it with a tax consultant, right? Someone like an accountant or a CPA or somebody that does taxes, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm definitely not an accountant. Hope that helps. Okay. Rebecca, what's the best state to file an LLC? Delaware, Nebraska, Alaska, then just register it in Texas. Okay, so there are some advantages that states will offer for filing a corporation in their state. For example, Delaware, Florida, some of the different states, I think Nevada, do not have state tax, state income tax, meaning they don't charge a state income tax. So there can be some tax advantages to having a corporation in those different states. So you're going to want to do your research, right? I have had corporations in Delaware in the past. I've had corporations in New York. Again, I'm not a tax professional. I'm definitely not a lawyer, even though I graduated with a pre-law degree 30 years ago. But yeah, I would strongly suggest that you seek some legal or tax advice. But yeah, some states do offer you an advantage because they do not have state income tax. So if your corporation is filed there, there can be some tax advantages. So you definitely want to check that out, Rebecca. Sandor asks, is there anything a carrier can do if a broker refuses to pay detention? Our trailer has been sitting for a couple of weeks at the receiver and the broker doesn't want to pay a penny. My suggestion is this: if the broker is not willing to work with you in a situation like this, if I were you, I'd go direct to the shipper and I'd let them know. If you have tried everything in your power to negotiate with the broker and the broker is just stonewalling you and is not willing to give you any sort of detention, even though they've had your trailer for an extended period of time, unless you agreed up front there was not going to be any detention, I would probably go direct to the shipper. I would send an email or a phone call or some sort of a letter letting them know what's going on. And that will typically move the ball down the field, right? Once you call the shipper, the broker's probably going to be willing to negotiate with you a little bit. So that could be one strategy. That's what I would do if I were in your shoes. I'm scrolling, looking for questions here. Okay. Question. I have a question. What kind of security measures do I have to take before hiring a broker agent? If you are a broker and you're looking to hire agents, a couple things you can do is obviously get a copy of their driver's license, right? That's going to prove, hopefully, help to prove that they're a legitimate citizen. Number two, you might want to run a criminal background check and or a credit check, both of which are valuable, right, in telling the type of character and people that you're dealing with, right? Third, you're definitely going to want to have them sign a contract. You may want to get references. Remember, you're hiring somebody, but because they're an independent contractor and not an employee, you have a lot more ability to ask questions. If you're an employee, it's very difficult, right? Because the labor laws don't allow you to ask a lot of things, right? About that employee. So the labor laws protect employees, but they're not designed for 1099 contractors, right? So those are a few things that I would do as precautionary to, to protect yourself when hiring freight agents. Ozan asks, what do you think about the governmental laws about freight market? Are they really to protect carriers, brokers, and shippers enough? I'm not sure exactly what laws you're referring to. There are a lot of different laws and potential legislation out there. You'd have to be more specific, Ozan. As a general rule, I'm not big on government regulation or government intervention. Okay. I think everything the government touches turns to shit in most cases. Now, I know that you have to protect certain vulnerable parties, particularly the elderly, children, consumers, but in business, you got to understand the government stepping in, all they're going to do is increase price because of increased regulation. And they're just creating a level of complexity that's typically unnecessary. All they're trying to do is justify their existence. Okay. Okay, Kat asks, are you currently still a broker or out of the game now and only do your bootcamp business? Kat, I sold my brokerage in 2016. I've had my Freight Broker Bootcamp online training program since 2009. So I had it even before I sold my business. Right now, that's what I'm exclusively focused on is Freight Broker Bootcamp, helping the students to launch and grow highly profitable freight broker businesses. I also have the new course that I launched about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, which is called my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator Program. That's my Freight Broker Sales Coaching Program, where I take that piece of my brain, everything about freight broker sales and how to get customers, and I transplant it into your head. Matter of fact, it's a good time to do a quick promo of that. But yeah, if you guys would like me to be your freight broker coach, your freight broker sales coach, I should say, because this is very sales oriented. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Okay. It's waitlist only. The only way you can get enrolled is through the waitlist. And there's limited spots. I typically limit it to 100 people or less. I'm going to be opening that up very, very soon. We've had some amazing students go through. I think I've trained over 500 students that have went through that program. Many of them have went on to build 6- and 7-figure businesses. I've had nothing but great reviews. Some of the people that are probably in here in this live today or catching this now replay probably participated in that Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. Maybe they could chime in and give some feedback on it. I've given an exit survey to everybody who's completed the program. And of the people that have completed that survey, we've had them to ask them to rank it from 1 to 10. And I think right now our average is 9.2 out of 10. It's by far the best program I've ever put together. And it's going to be opening very soon. It's not a free program and it's not cheap, but it's worth it. So get on the wait list so that you're the first to get notified when enrollment opens. So you guys have the option of taking one of the limited seats. Rico, the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator is, so the boot camp is the startup course. And I do teach some sales and I do teach some how to acquire customers. But if I tried to put my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program into my boot camp, people's heads would explode. They wouldn't be able to handle that amount of information or that level of complexity, because you understand most people are just starting up. So I created this separate program because people were begging me to put this program together. So I put this program together, invested over 100 hours of my personal time to just putting this program down on video. Okay. And it teaches not only mindset, but it also teaches how to fill your sales funnel. It teaches the correct way to follow up, how to close, how to leverage technology. You know, there's so many nuances to sales, but it takes my entire Freight Broker sales system from A to Z, right? Including using LinkedIn, including using email, including using face-to-face, including using the phone, multi-touch point outreach strategy. So there is so much there. It's hard for me to tell, but I do touch or talk about some of the concepts on LinkedIn and some of the free trainings, but that's really surface level. I really dive deep into those concepts. And not only is that, but the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator is actually a coaching program where I personally coach the students in there in a group coach format. They not only get access to the course, but I actually coach and mentor them for 5 weeks. So big difference. And Freight Broker Bootcamp, all the support is online, right? So I do it digitally. So hope that helps. A good question. Thank you. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. All right, cool. So, hey guys, listen, thank you so much for joining me. If you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. That's my startup program. Over 10,000 students have went through that program, freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money back guarantee. There's nobody in the industry that does that, just so you know. And if you're looking for help in getting customers, if you're looking help in acquiring customers, getting shippers, right? And you're struggling on the sales side, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Get on the wait list for my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. It's going to be opening very, very soon. Again, get on that wait list. You'll get notified as soon as it opens. I'm thinking we're going to open in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the inside. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate you guys being here. Have an awesome day, an awesome week. And I'll be back next Monday with another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Thanks all. Appreciate it.